Hello and welcome to another episode of Superfan Chats, the show where we discuss game theories about our beloved podcast, No Small Roles, and for this episode in particular, reminisce over the wonder that was the Wingthrop arc. What an arc it was.
Oh, so good.
It was amazing.
Such an emotional roller coaster as well, like so much going on, so much to discuss, so that's why we're here.
Yeah, I mean, considering that all the past arcs have been really, really good, and then they just somehow pick it up to... The stakes seem so much higher in this, somehow.
So much more.
Considering they were dealing with Undead Army, weeks ago.
Undead Army.
Yeah,
Golem
it's like
army.
now even bigger army. Just all the armies, really. Everyone's trying to kill everyone and take the throne. That's it. Well, I am Superfan Hannah, but not the Hannah that you expect. Think of me as an alternate reality, or a variant Hannah, if you will.
I think Lord Crumpet.
Lord Crumpet.
Leader of the Rolios.
Since we are the Crumpets now, according to Grace, I should be Lord Crumpet, so I'm the Lord of the Crumpets now.
Yay!
Yeah, good. See, it's accepted now. Democracy.
Welcome, Crumpet.
Welcome, Lord Crumpet.
Welcome, Lord Crumpet.
Oh, I love that we've got more super fans joining this as well. It's great.
Yay! I'm so glad, because it's like, I just discussed this, so I work with David, so I just discuss it with him. And obviously he can't tell me anything because he's the DM. So I'm just like spouting stuff at him, and he's just like, yes, good.
I do feel like we might get a little bit of this today, though, because obviously Superfan Pippa over here kind of made herself invaluable by showing her skills with editing Superfan chats. Has now, I believe, been able to edit future episodes. So you're a bit of...
I've done a couple.
Ooh.
She's been codified. Get her out.
She's codified.
I'm sorry, that information is restricted to higher ranking superfans.
No! Even Lord Crumpet is not high enough as a rank.
But I'm very excited to come back it'll be like end of November, I guess, to talk about those episodes with you.
That's very true.
Oh, God, have you started writing now? You've just got all the notes already. There's no point in us. It will just be a Pippa episode of
No.
Let me talk about this episode, and now this episode, and now this episode.
We'll just be spectating the entire time, just on Zoom, like, yes, good. Amazing. Right, well, let's kick this off then with episode 40.
Yes, we have a codex to talk about.
We do. Actually, just before we start this, it's in the name, and to be honest, if you're listening to this, you probably listened to other episodes, but just in case you haven't, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. We're going to be talking in detail about these episodes, and, it's 40 to 43, so if you haven't listened to those, we might sound nice, but this is pointless to you. So go do that first. Okay.
Yeah, you can listen to all of the previous part about me being a crumpet, but stop, go away.
Begone!
Begun! Right, so episode 40, the Codex, the big one.
Yeah.
So, main summaries of the episode. Enkidu dies. Enkidu actually dies, because initially I was like, oh no, David's done this before, like obviously with, the Into Tomorrow stuff. I was like, it's not real, like it's gonna be some other thing, but no, Enkidu...
Some kind of loophole.
His body is gone. He is dead. The Enkidu we know is gone, and that is a lot.
He is now a raisin.
He's now a prune.
A raisin.
A prune of his former self.
Oh no.
Yeah, honestly, so upsetting. And honestly, like I wasn't upset because I was just in disbelief. Like, no, he's fine.
Yeah.
Something else has happened. But the entire episode, he is gone. So obviously when Erida comes around saying, oh, hey, like you can see him, everyone's like, what? What are you talking about? Obviously, the conversation with him was pretty useless, to be honest. Like, listening back over the episode, it is just, nope. Higher ranking family members, you're not good enough. Sorry.
It was so frustrating, like hearing it come from Daryl as well.
Yeah.
And kudos to Daryl, who was amazing throughout these episodes. Like, obviously, all of them were, but Daryl having that extra information and so many versions of himself, and he just played it so well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he had to essentially consort with the DM and exclude all of his friends for this basically the rest of the arc. Like he's definitely going to know a lot more about what's going to happen and what like him as this codified person is going to be. And it's really hard because he's formed such a bond with these people, and now that he's got to be like, I don't know what I am or what I can do, and they've just got to trust him. Like, I don't trust him, I won't lie. I don't trust Enkidu now.
Well,
that's it.
This is the difficult thing, is because Enkidu was always the one that you knew exactly what he was thinking, like he was very like upfront about how he felt about things, very kind of like hard to hide how he's feeling.
Yeah.
And so like full of honor and, you know, this is the right path. And when you take that away from him, like now you can't necessarily trust that he's doing the right thing. What does that leave you with other than somebody that's like very, very strong that you can't trust?
Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes seems like the same person. It's a weird position for, you know, not just him to be in, but the party to be in as well, of like, we want to accept this guy, but can we?
No, exactly. But obviously, with the codified information comes all of the backstory about Orin and Gaius, potentially.
Lore drop,
all of the lore drop, where they fail with talking to Enkidu and finding out anything from him. They get all of the names, so Causticus Vindegulf gets brought up, Helica Ringthrup, and her sons Causticus Vindegulf and Eramir Aris, who apparently is Gaius's dad, maybe, potentially, because that's Gaius's middle name. What?
So cool. What?
I was named after my dad.
Just going shouting, Daddy! Was honestly a moment for me.
I love it.
It was a lot. Like this K that they've been following and who's been helping them could potentially be Gaius' dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not Kral at all.
No.
This is one thing that really confused me, because it could still be Kral. It was mentioned that Kral was brought into, like, you know, the Wingthruff, you know, what they were working on. So technically we're looking into the future. That could still be him as the K.
Yeah.
But through trying to find out who that K is, we now maybe know who Gaius' dad is. I don't know. It could go either way. Could be neither.
I mean, if Causticus and Kral are the same person...
Oh, don't.
Oh.
How horrible would that be for Gaius, knowing that he's related to him? Like, could you imagine if that's what you find out at the end? That this horrible sorcerer gone mad is his dad.
What, last episode? It's just like, by the way, Kral was your dad. No!
Yeah. No! Like, talk about a bad family tree. Like, geez, you know, with all of this trouble with his siblings as well that he mentions, like, it's not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
There was a lot of kind of, you know, I don't know whether you drew up the family tree as well, but you got, like, you know, Volus and Helica. They were the ones that had Causticus and Eramir, and then they both did the advancement test or something, but then went missing. Is kind of the sense that I got.
They progressed to the rank of captain and then they disappeared. So, you know, with the Codex sort of version of Helica being like, if you find them, like, do let us know because we'd like to know where they are. So I'm wondering whether it's a similar thing as to what's happened to our, like, guys, where they've done the test with a series of people. So, like, if Causticus and Eramir did it together, someone they know has died, and they've just been like, no, this isn't the family for me, and they've just gotten out of it because they've, like, realised, like, you know, it was the turning point for realising that the Wingthrups don't mess about. Like, they do not mess about. Like, they literally asked, do you support our family values? Nope, you're dead.
Yeah.
That is
now
essentially
you will.
what happened. Yeah, and now you're in our system. Bye.
Yeah.
So I genuinely think that that's what happened. Is that they were like, no, we're not being a part of this family because we don't believe in these values, and they've just, you know, because there's no suggestion that they changed the test. You know,
No,
so essentially they did exactly the same thing, the tubes and the questions and things like that. So that's probably what happened.
I just kind of wonder, what happens if you do the advancement test on your own? Like, would it be a completely different test? Because I think we talked about this with the puzzles in the first cube, that they were kind of set up for multiple people. But I'm guessing some people can do those tests on their own. So is it, you know, does the cube randomize and they have different challenges that they do?
That's a good question.
If they wanted to do the advancement test and only one tunnel is open, is it just that they answer questions incorrectly or something and then they get zapped, or, you know, are the questions different? And it's not about trying to find out who is the you know, the most likely to foil any codex plans in the future. You know, maybe it is a case of, you know, that is just for multiple people.
Yeah.
Like a personality test, except you take it by yourself. So it's like, do you believe in this? And if you say the wrong thing, the electricity comes closer to you, kind of thing.
Yeah, it just fills by like 50%, and then you could get it wrong twice.
It is an interesting one though with the cube, because obviously that, as much as that was in a previous episode, how would you do that by yourself? Because I suppose you could be smart enough to do it by yourself, especially stuff like the table leg. Like Orin essentially did that by himself.
Yeah.
So it's definitely possible. I think the only one is them getting into the the rerouting of everything. They kind of had to have everyone there.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Well, it just maybe would have taken them longer. I'd love to have seen Myra take that test.
Oh, Should have aced it.
I think she just would have walked in there and been like, it's obviously the table leg.
Yeah.
Just taking the mick out of everyone and been like, oh, it's obviously this. You guys are useless.
Yeah. She's small enough to deal with all the crawl spaces as well.
Yeah, she would like scratch out all the clues and be like, no, that's cheating. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I don't accept this help. Thank you. Bye.
I find those clues, like, it still kind of plays on my mind, though, because to me, if someone's going to put clues in that room, it kind of makes me feel like they've done it before, which again would lead into the it's from Crow, not Causticus side of things. Because once you've done it, aren't you kind of really keen to like advance and carry on and move on to the next room? Unless, of course, it is Causticus leaving clues for his younger brother who is about to do it.
That is
later.
actually a really interesting theory.
That was my other thought.
That's a good point, because there's no indication of age. Like, they just say, these are my two sons, Causticus and Aramir.
Exactly.
So there's no indication of who's the older one, or whether, even if they're like twins, do you know what I mean? Like, there's no sort of indication of age or time, or, you know, for all we know, Aramir's the younger brother.
And maybe it was, I mean, no reason to think this, but maybe Causticus was kind of the more intelligent son and looked after like his younger brother, and he was pretty convinced that Aramir was not going to pass the test on his own, left him all the little clues to give him a little bit of a head start to get through it.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Maybe.
No, I like that.
I really like that as well.
We'll see.
But what do we think about heritage? Like, who do we think? If we're going along the basis that, because it was kind of found out like the Volus Hemlock link, you know, and then he just said, I want to speak to Volus, and a Volus appeared, who just so happened to be connected to this family, you know,
Just
married
happens to be Helica's wife.
Helica, yeah. Who clearly died in his advancement test, I think. He was going for the
Yeah.
captain rank. But yeah, if we're kind of tying the things together, do we think, do Orin and Gaius come from the same parent? Are they both Causticus?
I don't know. I was under the impression
is one Causticus,
that-
one Aramir?
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, whether they're cousins.
If we're assuming that Causticus is Gaius's dad, and then Volus is
Orin's granddad.
Yeah.
Orin's granddad, then that is cousins.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it really is.
But no Hemlock, though.
I mean, it could all be red herrings, and, you know, David is just really enjoying, you know, name links.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah, because Hemlock didn't come up at all. So they looked for him and they were like, he's not, or he or she is not part of the Codex. So that is a name we are yet to explore. So there'll be stuff coming from that as well.
Yeah. Could be from Orin's mother's side, for example.
Exactly.
Potentially, yeah. I didn't know if it, like, had hex heritage. I don't know, something about it seems like, you know, hemlock poisoning.
Yeah.
I did think of that. I was like, I swear Hemlock's like a herb or some sort of
So
thing.
isn't it like a poisonous plant or something like that?
I feel like Sam gets to using a search engine to try and find out.
Yeah, because obviously I know of like Deadly Nightshade, and that's the kind of it.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of that kind of thing.
Any other herbs are just used for cooking, so I have no idea.
Juna would know.
Juna would know. Flower check.
Oh, here we go. Yes.
Yeah.
So hemlock is a poison.
Hemlock is a poison.
Highly poisonous flowering plant in the carrot family. Apparently, it's a poisonous carrot.
Poisonous carrot.
Yeah.
Orin's a poisonous carrot. Tell it, friends.
So this is, maybe this is like he is supposed to be the poison to the wingthroat family. Like maybe there is a tie to like, you know, Volus being, I don't know,
maybe.
you know, if it's a given name.
Whoa. Very true. And then obviously the episode ends with the golem, as the pronunciation was discussed. Yes, the 50,000 strong army just sat there waiting for someone to take the throne. As Erida discussed, that's literally their purpose, is to put someone on the throne. Not that they're going to reveal who, because, you know, higher ranking family members.
But also that is being added to all the time. It's a conveyor belt of non-stop.
Yeah.
And now the next one is ready, and now the next one is ready.
Stick a wand on them.
The longer they leave this, the bigger that army gets.
Yeah.
That is terrifying.
Did anybody get like a, you know, the Helm's Deep fight kind of look when the lightning flashes and you see just like the tide of orcs? Spoilers if you haven't watched Lord of the Rings, but there's lots of orcs. But yeah, it was like that scene. It was
coming
you know,
out
screaming
of the...
and like just all these golems behind him in face masks.
No, 100%. I'm guessing it's like they're like imbued with the souls of soldiers who have been codified.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
And
that's terrifying, the fact that you could die and then you're used to power, essentially as a battery, for this army, and like you've got no choice in it. Do you know what I mean? These are just like programmed machines, so you've got no choice in fighting this battle. You just got to go for it. So it's the idea of more people. If more people take this test and more people fail this test, the bigger their army will be, and that is horrible to think that.
Yeah, but also, and it's so simple to produce. I'm guessing from the way that they've described it, there's 2 wands being created, and each golem has a wand as they're created. So it's either like a protection spell or a blasting spell. It's that simple. So you'll just come back and you'll be like, okay, I guess I'm a blaster then. Cool. I'll go sit with my 49,909 other friends.
Oh God, like I'm all for recycling things, but that's just not cool.
Reuse, recycle.
It makes them ranged attackers as well. It's not like they don't have to do hand-to-hand combat with that, though. Kind of makes them even more prolific.
No, definitely.
And as we find out from, well, I'm guessing Pepper's going to tell us in a minute, but, you know, these golems, they're not exactly, you know, pushovers.
No.
Nope.
They pack a punch.
High hit points.
Yeah, I know, right?
High damage as well.
Yeah.
And then after that big revelation, obviously we get Enkidu 1 run out, and then Enkidu 2 run out, completely naked, with Erida's head in his hand. And then the first one comes out in what was described as a onesie, or like a beach onesuit.
Yeah.
A bodysuit.
A bodysuit, yes, a Victorian bodysuit, which is just very strange. It was just
very
just
strange.
like, and then Enkidu runs out
God,
again, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
No, hold on. It was so good.
Just love the way, Enkodu's on his way to a Lido
Enkidu.
in his bathing suit.
Yeah.
And then naked Enkidu with Erida being like, we need to get out. And then next thing you know, the battle begins. So I suppose we'll lead to the next episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've got the 2 Enkidus. Do we call them Enkidu and Enkodu? That was what they were called.
I feel like that's what Daryl
Enkidu?
named himself. Yeah, it's I feel like it's Enkidu just with numbers. So it's like 3ND1. And the rest of the letters that I can't think of right now, but you know.
Yeah, like a registration plate on the back of him.
1 and then a 2 or something like that. Enkidu.
Yeah.
Just like, if you want to refer to all of them, just call them Enkidai, like cacti.
Like that.
Nice. Yeah. Pluralizing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so this episode, the first thing that I want to talk about is you've got obviously these 2 Enkidus.
Enkiduo.
Enkiduo.
Oh,
Nice.
that was good. That was good.
Very good. Not for long though, because Gaius throws the bodysuit Enkidu off the platform and he plummets to his death, which I was going to ask you guys, was that a good idea, or do you think he was a bit hasty about
I loved it.
disposing of that Enkidu?
I absolutely loved it. That like this is Sparta moment.
Yeah,
I know,
like
right?
as an action moment, incredible. It's just I would be worried as the sort of like real sort of codex, I suppose, Enkidu, because I'm like, oh God, he just disposed of me like that. Like if I show anything up, I'm gonna get pushed off the platform. Like,
It was a bit of a power play, wasn't it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It was interesting because he seemed to be going in the same direction as them. He seemed to kind of be, you know, they hadn't got far enough to see whether he was going to help them. But, you know, they could have potentially disposed of him later and could have done with an extra ally in this battle about 50,000 golems.
Well, that's a point, actually.
But would he have helped them, or would he turned on them?
I don't know.
That's a question.
Because he was supposed to act like the real Enkidu. So
Yeah.
So he probably would have helped them then, by that logic.
you would have thought up to a point he would have helped them.
But I reckon if they'd have kept him, I reckon when Quanta came out, then he would have turned.
He would have turned.
I think that's what
quite
would have happened.
possibly. Yeah, that's not great.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Or we would have had some kind of like robot battle, which could have also been a mech. Can you imagine if like, you know, Enkodu also like knives came out? It's like, come on!
Oh my God, yes.
It'd be like the Faceless Footman battle all over again with like 2 Enkidus battling each other.
So cool.
Talking of Quanta, shame that Juna's use of Alter Self didn't pay off.
I know.
As they were going up in the lift, she cast Alter Self on herself and turned herself into Quanta. That would have been... It was such a brilliant idea.
It was a great idea, but
It was such a shame.
I think maybe would have fooled people, but a sentient
But, yeah,
mind or
not the
hive mind
constructs.
kind of thing.
Sure.
You know, one
Yeah.
of them realizes it's not her.
Yeah.
All of them are going to realize. I still think it was a worthy shot.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
totally. Yeah, and David rolled
I think
for
it was one of those things like, okay, hindsight, it didn't work, But
Yeah, sure.
it's worth a try. Like, in that situation, for it to just be like, can you imagine if it was that simple? It's like, oh no, don't attack us. I'm just escorting them out of the building and battle over.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Like it just meant like they had two paths. They either could have gone the sneaky path or the all guns blazing, and it just happened to be the guns blazing path.
This is true.
Which made for really interesting podcast entertainment.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
I got so confused though. I was like, who's hitting who? Where? What's happening? There's a golem flying here and they've hit this one here and like honestly, by the end of it, I was like,
so many golems.
Oh god! And like we said, they did not go down easy. There was some big damage. Like when we're hearing like 20 points hit with a shatter, and that golem he's like, okay, yeah, it took that hit.
Yeah, no, it's still fine. Yeah,
And it's not falling. It's not dead. No, not even wounded. Okay, cool. Carry on.
and they're dealing the same amount of damage in return as well.
Yeah.
One of them hit Juna, and I think she was down to half hit points after the first hit.
it makes you wonder, like, if they've made an enemy out of the Wingthrops, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, they'll need to find their own army that's equally as competent in order to fight back. Because, like we saw, there is a giant army waiting, like, and they're hard to fight. They're really hard to defeat.
And they're just the grunts. Like,
Yeah.
I had that moment when Quanta came out, I was worried that it was a step too far, that, David was heading towards a TPK at that moment, because
Well, it could well have
the
been.
golems had already proved themselves hard to beat. And then, Quanta comes out with all her bloody knives and a ridiculous running speed. And I think that one attack that she had against Gaius was like, oh yeah, it's slashing and it's burning and you're poisoned. Like, all the things in one. And that's just one commander.
That's a
And
very
we know
good
that
point.
there are others out there. We've heard that Myra's parents are not themselves. So are they... Okay, they're not in applied medtech, so maybe they don't have all the scalpels and everything like that. But what have they got going on?
Sure.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Definitely.
Yeesh.
Ugh. But we did see cool things from our characters as well. We did see cool things from the players. I just want to point out how awesome Chaperone's reciprocation was.
Oh my goodness,
Not just
yes.
the move itself, but the wording of it was so good for Gwendolyn. It was so, again, with these Jane Austen vibes. But yeah, I really like that. I've seen skills like that in the past, but to be able to move your unarmored movement speed, which is something that's very kind of specific to a monk, that's just going to go up and up and up as she scales through these levels, and it makes so much sense for her character as well, and was kind of the defining thing that meant that Gaius didn't die.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
Kind of feel like we should rebrand her as Gwen the Destroyer.
Yep. Love it.
Gwen the Destroyer.
Because she crushed Quanta in the same way that she crushed Crowl, and I think she's just like the MVP when it comes to combat at the moment.
That's very true. Like, she just turns it around. Like, considering how traumatized she was in the previous episode, and then just to turn around and absolutely dominate. Yeah, definitely. Destroyer.
Gwen the Destroyer.
Could we talk about Enkidu's very cool use of compelled duel towards the end of this battle as well? Because that was pretty awesome. Given that he was obviously naked and he'd lost all of his armor and everything like that.
Fighting in the nude.
But he's still able to use his shield spell and have Cal come out and protect him.
Yeah.
That was amazing, to see that his patrons were still in there.
Still there. That was the kind of the one thing that makes you go, oh, actually, this kind of is still Enkidu.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That's the one thing that kind of gave you hope, that was like, actually, it is still him.
He's still in there.
He's
But then
still in there.
interestingly, what if the other Enkidu had been there, Enkidu, Enkodu, whatever we're calling him,
Yep.
if he had been there, I wonder if he would have been able to access the patrons.
Yeah,
if there's
absolutely, right?
If it's his information.
Because they were in the codex.
That's a very good point.
Because we saw the flickers of them.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Oh god, there's just questions that will never be answered. Yeah.
It's completely fine because the Wingthrops can just make more Enkidus.
That's very true.
Oh, God.
They'll just make as many as they want now. They're going to replace Quanta.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It was ultimately pointless getting rid of her. It was cool, but she'll just be rebuilt tomorrow.
What if they put all of the 50,000 golems through and just change their head to Enkidu's head?
Oh my word.
That would be so psychologically scarring
Oh,
for
God.
everyone
Terrifying.
listening, playing, just like seeing Enkidu's like face on this massive built like stone body. Oh no. That's my nightmare for tonight. Nope. Hate it so much.
Well, I'm glad I left you with that mental image.
But yeah, cool episode.
Yeah.
Very cool episode.
Nice little features like, the auto crit that he got from, Gilgamesh coming out.
Yes. Gilgamesh at the end.
So
yes.
cool.
It's like he's gotten stronger, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like since he's been like remade, he is just stronger as a person, and it's like, what? How?
Yeah, a bit scary. What have they done? Yeah, we'll find out, I'm sure.
We find out in Spill the Tea.
Course, spill the tea.
Oh, yeah.
All of the tea.
So before we talk about the other huge reveal of this set of episodes, I have to point out probably one of my favourite moments.
Oh, yeah.
Which was Attack of the Footpath.
That was excellent.
It was so funny.
Just the way that David reiterated, well, it's going to have -5 because it's a footpath.
Yeah, and it's like has disadvantage on the saving throw because it's shatter.
I loved it.
Oh my god,
it was
great.
so funny. It was great. It's just, this moments of tension and like this moment of calm and almost like downtime and just rest and recovery, and footpath moment was excellent.
It was so funny.
I mean, considering the last episode, which was like all fight, like from start to finish, from the moment that they, Enkidu ran into the room to getting on the boat in the tunnel, it was all combat from, like multiple assailants all over there. I kind of love that in this one, the only combat was this path.
The only danger was the footpath. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an episode of talking, basically.
Yeah.
So they're all sat in the boat, and initially Enkidu wants to wait until they get the other side of the tunnel before he kind of reveals what happened to him. They also have a little look in the boxes that were stacked in there. I mean, Juna knocks one off.
Yeah, she does.
Oh, God.
She's natural one.
Hopefully there was nothing too important in that one.
So the key to all the future, it's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
The anti-Winthrop wand. It's gone forever.
Damn it. So Enkidu ends up receiving the Armour of Shadows
Yeah.
from one of these boxes, which is a Coggian design. Coggian, by the way, noticeably absent from the previous episode. Didn't come and help the golems or anything like that. Just kind of kept himself out the way, which maybe he could be a potential ally in future if they ever end up back there.
Yeah, because he's just a recruit, isn't he?
Yeah, but he didn't seem to have any interest in taking the test either, which makes you think either he's just completely unambitious, in which case, is he that useful to the Winthrops anyway?
Yeah.
Or does he know something more about those tests?
Potentially. I mean, there's also, when people talk about Coggian in future episodes. I mean, Myra is not exactly... She doesn't talk about people favourably anyway.
No.
But she does talk about, Coggian being a bit of a... when it comes to magical constructions. So, maybe it's just the fact that he's like, well...
He's, quote, a bit like Orin.
Yeah, exactly. Take it whichever way you want. But maybe it's a case of like, he's like, if I take the advancement test, I'm going to die. So I might as well I can keep making things here. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Potential ally, though.
Yep. And it was Patreon inspired.
Yes.
Which was quite cool.
That was very cool. It was nice to see the stuff, because obviously the one I remembered was the Shambling Mound.
Yeah.
Just out of interest, which ones did you vote for? Because I'm assuming you both voted for this.
I did. I can't remember, actually.
I know, it was a while ago.
I think probably I voted for the smoke.
I voted for the exclamation mark, the target on his head from all sources, because I just thought that's such a brilliant downside
that's funny.
to it.
I love that.
I love that it turned out being both, though.
Yeah. That was our fault, Sam.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, Daryl.
Sorry, Enkidu.
Enkidu then does decide he's going to reveal some more of what happened to him. Sort of starts from the beginning of being zapped in the tunnel. But he can only say so much. He's, physically stopped from being able to speak about his prime directive and all that kind of thing. But instead, Juna's able to cast Detect Thoughts on him and is able to actually physically witness everything. Cue phenomenal moment, which
so
just
good.
It was done beautifully. The audio processing, the music behind it, it was so
the
clever.
Performance as well,
Performance, it was so
listening
so
to Daryl. That I think there's a moment where he just basically swore, and it just seemed so natural for Enkidu to do that at that moment. I think it was when the other Enkidu walked into the room or something. And he's just like, "What the fuck?" It's brilliant.
Yeah.
The whole way through, we were
fantastic,
following his confusion.
I know, it was just horrible to kind of hear him go through, because this is all behind the scenes, whilst our guys are running around speaking to the sort of the codex version, he's just there going through this weird experience, and then this person telling him that he's now got this new sort of purpose in life, and it's like, no, and it's like, well, you've got to follow it, really. We've given you this lovely high-tech body, and so you've got to do it. You owe us one. And I hate that. I hate that he owns the Wingthrops.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know. And he doesn't know how they'll
I
cash it
bet
in.
he despises that. Like, it's just not right.
Oh, hang on. So,
I know.
something's just occurred to me, actually. I feel like it's in episode 40. Juna tries to cast Sending to Enkidu, right? And
Yes.
she's not able to find a target.
So whenever she casts it on something that isn't real, so when she did it for Erida as well, it's just static in the brain.
So that's detect thoughts, but she did try a sending, I think. She was trying to
She did
send
try
a
sending.
message to
of
Enkidu.
course.
And
Yeah, she was talking to Orin
Yeah.
about it beforehand using message.
and then I think David said it didn't find a target. So
Yeah.
my
didn't
kind of
connect.
question here is like, did the new Enkidu, this new body that he's got, and this whole conversation that happened, was that between the point of the sending and Enkidu bursting into the room? Like, was that like a 5-minute conversation that they, that he had with Erida, and it just, followed straight on? Or is Enkidu not able to be targeted by the sending spell?
Or do you remember back when they were in the holding room before they got let into the actual main bit? Juna tried
She
to
wasn't
cast
able.
sending.
Yeah, of course.
Sort of blocked.
Yeah, she tried to get out to Ginger.
I think
didn't
it might
she?
be to do with the force field type thing,
Yeah.
as much as anything else. But yeah, maybe.
Could be that.
But good thought though. At what
Oh,
point
definitely.
did Enkidu come back?
Being too meta.
Ah, it's-
I love it. You gotta
Yeah.
think. Did he actually come back? What?
You'll see you back at all.
But we find out so much through this conversation about, the Wingthrops having their big plans that go back 500 years, and that either Enkidu or Gilgamesh has king's blood, but they're not sure. We get the tip about the demonologist, Geramir Hastan,
Oh, yeah.
which I cannot wait for this. I'm
I know.
so excited
Flesh out
for
that
this.
storyline.
Is presumably, given that he's on the map, he's another of the sort of mirrors in the plinth
Yeah.
room. He's going to be one of those guys.
Yeah, there was a bit of talk about that, about how, Erida could be one of the scratched out ones, or, the broken ones to sever that connection. Yeah, it's nice
Very
that
true.
that's still coming back around, little hints to it every now and then.
Yeah, exactly. And the more we meet these mages, archmages, which one is going to be that do not trust? And is that from Krau's perspective, or is that a note to the party?
Yeah.
Like the bluff, double bluff kind of thing.
No, very true.
It makes you go in and question everything you're being told. Like,
Yeah.
for the good of Dravain, is it really for the good of Dravain?
Well, this
Yeah.
is one thing that I've really been wondering, particularly when I listened back to this episode, is that, both Krau and Erida in their own rights have been building armies.
Yeah.
And they keep talking about it, being for the good of the world, like some kind of like oncoming threat that Krau's clearly seen, Erida is clearly aware of, and has been planning for over 500 years. So, firstly, what is this threat? Flames, floods, the dead rising, and all of that. There is
100%.
that, but how much do they know about this? How much are they not able to let on, or it ruins the future?
Yeah.
Very true.
What part does Lord Berrien have to play in all of this? Is this like
Yeah.
he keeps getting dropped in every now and then? Vying for the throne.
He just
He's
feels
got-
like such a pawn, though. He just feels like he's just there to be put on the throne and like controlled and manipulated.
Yeah.
If he's got to use frosting, do you know what I mean? If he's got to use these illegal
Yeah.
methods of getting people to support his claim, then he's just
Yeah.
there to kind of be like a body, I think.
Well, either that or he's the leader of the Hex. Who knows? Because we know that the
That's
Hex
true.
deal with frosting as well. And, maybe
Yeah.
the Hex are trying to work their way up into the biggest seat in the country.
Everyone wants the throne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Including Enkidu, very strongly.
Oh,
And you've got Timon Prevost as well, who's the other
Yeah,
throne
Timon
contender
Prevost.
Yeah.
that we
Oh,
know
God.
very little about, other than he's trying to upset the ways of things at the moment. So there'll be more to come about him, I'm sure.
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Better be.
Yeah,
It does kind of sound like Prevost is, Enkidu actually isn't too bothered by Prevost. Like, he could actually fall in line with that idea of like the country being changed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. His want to be on the throne
I mean,
seems
he
stronger.
could have done. But is he going to do that now?
Yeah, exactly. When push comes to shove and like they get there, is he going to actually follow through with the Wingthrop like directive, or is he going to stick to his own guns?
And will he have a choice
And will he have a choice?
Yeah.
Exactly.
when the time comes? I mean, there was that kind of imagery in the episode, and I got real like Marvel vibes in this. I got the Black Panther with the
Yeah.
Coggy suit, and then they mentioned like his chest opened up into a blue triangle, and I was seeing like Iron Man
Yes.
vibes there
Yeah.
as well. So he's Iron Panther.
Love it.
Iron
Um,
Panther.
Yeah. Amazing.
But it's like that is over his heart, I believe, or in the center of his chest. So, and they said, feel free to go against us, but does that mean that there's still like a backup drive that, they'll be able to take over Enkidu and manage what he's doing when he's on the throne? Or is Erida's mission just literally to get somebody back on the throne?
Just anybody.
To stop some threat that's going to happen, and then all of the army is going to follow Enkidu in his dreams. Yeah.
Who knows? I've got this horrible feeling that the closer that Enkidu gets to the throne and to Mervai, the less of himself he'll become.
Ooh.
I don't know. There's something about, as he gets closer to his prime directive, the more the Wingthrup influence will take over.
Yeah.
And maybe perhaps by the time they get to that point of being able to put him on the throne, there'll be a very tough decision to make about whether that is Enkidu or not.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And whether he realizes which parts were absolutely him, which of his goals were, because, it was always his goal to be king or to see his brother on the throne.
No, absolutely, yeah.
To see Gilgamesh put back in that position.
Yeah.
But there was something about when they were saying, like, is this what you want? And he was adamant at this point, like, that is my mission.
Yeah.
That is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of that is him and how much of that is the new influence in his head of, like, that is his prime directive.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Kind of consumed him potentially. Ugh.
Yeah, because it's lost that kind of emotional aspect, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because, the whole point is he's got these people stuck inside of him and he wants them to, he needs them to be free and, like, live their lives. Whereas now it just seems like he's just carrying them to where they need to be.
Yeah.
It just sounds like he's just got, like, essentially just a rucksack full of people. So it's definitely lost that kind of emotional, like, sort of inside check, kind of like making sure everybody's okay in there. It just feels like, nope, we got to do this. Come on. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And should they come across Gerimir Hastan, the demonologist, and he's given the choice to extract them, is he going?
Will he do it?
Will he do it? Exactly.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that is scary.
Because he's not going to have bodies to put them back into unless they go back to the Wingthrups and take a few bodies.
And they make him a body.
No.
Ooh, that would be horrible.
God, yeah.
That's actually a very good point. He could easily just sacrifice them back to the Wingthrups.
They're in the Codex anyway.
Well, I mean, he did. Oh God, he did say that the Codex or the Erida it's a stockpile of their information. It's not their dreams, their souls, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's all the information that they have. And in a way, they kind of have that with Gilgamesh. We don't know in what capacity, but there was definitely a moment in, I think it was episode 40, when they were like, oh, is Alcibiades here? It's like, oh yeah, I'm here. Like, just appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They probably do have that information, but if they're able to get them out of, I don't know. Yeah. It's scary.
Don't know. I'm very excited for that bit of the story arc to come up. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But
I kind of get the idea that, that they go demon hunting after this, go
Demon
see
hunting.
this demonologist and it's like, oh, I will help you if you hunt this greater demon. Go fight a demogorgon.
Great.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, go on then. After spending an entire episode in a boat going down this tunnel, which they managed to get a long rest on, it's at least an 8-hour journey in a straight line down this tunnel with
very far away, or a very slow boat.
Potentially some golems following them behind. But yeah, I mean, this was a beautiful wrapping up episode. We had time at the end of the boat. We had some stupid antics in front of a waterfall and swimming through.
God.
Oh God,
It's always Guy.
Gaius.
Yeah.
I'll just jump off the edge. It's 2 waterfalls. Oh, great.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, it's kind of a case of eventually making their way back to Drostad and, having that chat. Enkidu got to use his armor, which is very nice. He used his pass without trace, which means that anytime he casts it from now on, we'll be seeing potentially some exclamation marks over the head. Or just puffing out smoke. I love that. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be invisible. I'm going to be really hard to detect. It's just like there's just smoke going on. Oh, damn it. Their cloak that only worked at night. But yeah, getting back there, relaying this information, which, oh my God, it was so cute. That moment between Orion and Myra that,
I know.
and I kind of feel like that's what this arc was, in a way, was
It was about that. It was about her.
yeah.
That's the reason why they went and why she joined them, was because she was like, oh, my parents are a bit weird.
Yeah.
Do you want to go check this out? And then they just so happened to kind of have the sort of statue be like, Wingthorpe detected. And they kind of just went with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was just kind of like, oh, cool, let's just do the test then. La 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 la. So
Yeah, they just they just pushed on with it. But yeah, their relationship throughout this arc was a big thing for me, because it started from, well, particularly for Orin, like, you know, admiration, like, ooh, another artificer, to hatred, to, you know, respect and inspiration, and then finally at the end, family. And I just, that moment, like right at the end of this episode where, you know, he gets a little hug,
Invisible hug.
which we're assuming is from Myra. It could have been Theracine, but, you know. But, you know, just for that to...
Yeah, a small hug on Orin.
I'm assuming it's
Myra.
Yeah, it's just kind of nice, because they were talking about all these dark things throughout the episode. Like, oh yeah, your parents, you know, they've been codified, and now you know what that means. And, you know, it's all kind of doom and gloom. Erida could be watching every single moment, but just having a little cuddle at the end, you know, that hope. And
it's like she just wants to be tough. Like, it doesn't feel like she was being mean because she was like, she just wanted to prove that she was better. Like, it just felt like the whole thing was just an act. But then when she's invisible, she can finally be like, no, actually, I really admire your work and you're really cool. Okay, I'm going. Like, it is really sweet.
And I think it's a nature versus nurture thing. Her nature is that, you know, she's got family and, you know, she's going to cling on to that. Whereas the nurture, that, you know, this family seems to breed competition.
Exactly.
And that's what it's about, is one-upping the person next to you. So, of course, she's going to, you know, he's older than her, and his designs are sticks with gum, you know, and... you know, she's going to knock that around. But it was a nice kind of arc for Orin as well, because he's always been, you know, like, you know, tinkering and making these things. But this arc was very much like Orin with moments of failure or not quite being up to the standard that other people are, you know, kind of seeing where he wants to be, you know, helping monsters with his magic. It's, okay, actually, I probably do need to learn a bit more about which elements. He was talking about that in the golem fight. It's like, okay, well, I can't actually damage them with either of these, so how can I be useful in this fight? And
no, exactly.
Yeah, just seeing him like, oh yeah, you know, I've made my own little work table, and
like he's learnt from her.
Yeah,
look, I made this. See, please be proud of me.
But yeah, something else happens in that Myra and Theracine are going to go and potentially join up with the Rose family.
That is going to be interesting.
Which got me excited for a bit, you know, even more of a reason to delve into Gwendolyn's backstory in the future.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, we're working our way through now, aren't we?
We're getting there in terms of people and their lives.
Yeah, starting to get a few more threads to unravel their stories a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, we still haven't found out everything about, you know, backstories for any of these characters, really. There's so much grey that we still need to explore, and I feel like with some of them...
Stuff they don't know. Yeah, I was going to say, stuff they don't know about themselves. Yeah. You know, Orin and Gaius don't really know about their heritage, you know, Orin especially so. And, like, Gaius just, like, lies. Every time he talks about it, it's always just a lie. So, you know, like... having someone basically expose him in front of everyone is ideal, because then we get to know more.
Yeah,
true.
Just out of curiosity, because we kind of talked about, like, you know, the Orin and Myra arc, who do you reckon had the biggest arc in this chapter?
Ooh, good question.
Well, Enkidu did die.
Yeah.
True.
He had the biggest physical arc.
Physically, he had a bit of a ride. I'm trying to think.
I don't know. There's an argument for all of them, though.
Yeah.
Which, is why you've asked the question, of course.
Because, I mean, you know, even with Juna, you know, she came from a point of, like, you know, this is magic. This is what magic is, and I love magic. To seeing this, like, constructed magic. And, you know, there was a moment where it was kind of like, oh, we're not going to... I think somebody said we're not going to kill Quanta, because how does that help? I think it was Orin that said that. And Vicky was saying, like, oh, Juna hates that. She just wants, there's a real kind of...
They all there, like, Gaius was like, we're going to burn this place to the ground, like, to Gwen, to reassure her, and then, like, Juna just wanted to kill Quanta. And I think she did, to be fair, towards the end, I think she was starting to get Orin, especially in episode 40, she was starting to get Orin on board with that idea. Yeah. Like, he was so angry after Enkidu. I mean, you know, I know there was the joke that they were betrothed, but I feel like he almost kind of took it to heart. Like, this is, you know, like, they've really grown in their relationship, and I think that Enkidu really respected Orin. So for Orin to just suddenly lose him, and, you know, and as well for Gaius and Orin, you know, it was in chase of their heritage. It was they are the Winthrops, so they must have so much guilt on their conscience that they put their friends in this situation, because they didn't have to take the test.
No,
it
no,
could have
they
just
didn't.
been Oren and Guy, but they all took the test together, and one of their
Yeah.
friends died. Like, that is a lot to like. So I'd say for that reason, definitely Oren and Guy.
It's the true cost of knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. And Guy just needs to be honest about his life. Like, Guy just needs to tell the truth. Like, can you stop lying to your friends? Like,
I think it's compulsive. He doesn't have a choice at this point. He has to lie.
You can't help it.
yeah,
Whether
I
it be
guess.
to, protect them or protect himself, it kind of got that idea, that
That's
he's not
very
talking
true.
about his family because they are so high up within the hex,
Yeah,
But to
guess.
even mention them is to bring danger onto yourself. But yeah,
That's fair.
with Oren, it was kind of, he's been searching for family, and that's been kind of his, primary directive. Or it's difficult because he was finding his family, but in doing so, he lost his family.
Yeah.
And his found family,
Yeah.
the people that are closest to him. And I think that's kind of what he was, like you say, struggling with in that is like,
Yeah.
okay, well, my actual family, my flesh and blood family, I hate them now, and I can't believe that I'm a part of this. But actually, I now have you, Guy,
Yeah.
to be my real family. And oh, God.
So cute.
And to take away Enkidu.
And I mean, like, for Gwen as well, like, there wasn't a huge amount for her to gain by entering that Wingthrak workshop.
No, definitely not.
Like, there was no big reveal that she was kind of going in expecting to get. And particularly given the kind of tension between her and Enkidu throughout this process, they were the last two into their tubes before they did the test as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, to go in,
and
yeah.
kind of like almost like pushing each other and helping each other.
We can do
sum
this,
up the
yeah.
courage, I guess. Yeah, exactly. And she was the first one to speak, to say what has happened to Enkidu. She was the first one, which I thought was like quite telling about.
Yeah.
They've had their big kind of punch up fight, and they've kind of got that out their system a bit.
Yeah, they just needed to beat each other up a little bit. Now they're fine.
Yeah.
exactly.
All it took.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I think their relationship will be very interesting going forward.
Yeah, what
as well
does
now.
this mean for Gwenkidu?
I know.
I know.
I mean, she gets to see him in assless chaps because that's canon now.
Oh my
Yep.
god, I nearly forgot about that. Assless
That's
chaps.
fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. And then he got to see her be Mary Poppins and glide down a waterfall.
Oh, so
Oh, I
Poofy,
loved
poofy dress
that.
style.
Yes.
Just gently floating down like, good day.
Yeah, love it.
But hopefully, yeah, with the war fans soon, it kind of sounded like Theresine was happy to give up those, components for her to make that, because she lost the mithril sheets through, everything that was
Oh, yeah,
happening
course.
within the complex, within the, when they were in the workshop, those mithril sheets were taken
Yeah.
away very smartly by the DM.
Yep.
But, the idea that she's got some materials here, we might see that at the beginning of the next arc.
Yep.
I don't know. Looking at Pippa, she's not making any giveaway faces. Damn
I'm
it!
sorry, that information is...
No! Don't you dare! Take her head.
We tried. We give it a last
Guy,
shot.
kick her off the edge.
Thank you, David, for that get out clause.
Damn it.
Do we have a favourite moment or two to sum up our lovely chat together?
We all know yours is the footpath.
Yep.
Love the footpath.
The big bad of the campaign, yeah.
Yeah.
The big bad. The footpath. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I've got to be honest. My favourite moment is honestly Guy turning round and giving the middle finger
Flipping the bird.
Oh, flipping the bird.
as he goes away, because it was just like
The build-up.
Do you know what I mean? Like there was not like it was such an intense battle, and it was just like a whole episode. That is probably the longest kind of battle since the sort of the library.
Yeah, we've had
yeah.
a few, haven't we? But not many.
Yeah, like the only big battle was probably when they were
The time hopping one against with
Yeah.
Crowl in the library and the Vondells.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, that's probably the longest battle. And then, that was ages ago when you think
Yeah.
about it. So this was a long initiative. And then just to end it with them on a boat and then him just turning around being like, wah! And that's like, it was such a it was such like a moment for the party.
Such a guy thing.
Yeah,
He did a really
exactly.
good build up to it as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because it could have been,
Stole my energy
really
and-
intense. Like it could have been that they just like collapsed into the boat and just like didn't move or just stared him down. But no, he had to just like one up them one last time, and that was it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I loved that.
I'd have to say the moment that made me laugh the most, like really kind of like spontaneous laugh, was I think it was Gwendolyn saying she kicked something and instantly Chris was like, ow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Just got me.
yeah.
I think I was on a train at the time and people looked at me a bit weird. But in terms of
Excellent.
my favourite moment, like the bit that stood out to me, if I think about this arc, it coming down to one moment, was the can I share this voice clip with you?
Yeah.
And just hearing that process, because like I say, it was just done so beautifully, like that kind of like echoey Erida style, to the audio itself. And also just, knowing that we were hearing, like the other players were hearing that for the first time. Not at the same time that we were, obviously. It's not live. But I kind of felt like we were sharing that experience of like, okay, this is what happened. And also all the information and just kind of, I'd made it up in my head that the Wingthrups were bad guys. And now I don't know, like they could be, but actually their intentions could be good. They're just a little bit warped. Like, is their prime directive to see somebody on the throne and to protect Gervain? But it's just in a kind of like iRobot style-y kind of thing. Like, the rules have changed. It's developed since, I don't know. I've come off my favourite moment and gone into the whole like, all the family members were codified at the same time, as Myra said. So that must mean that they're just building up to the... Yeah.
Oh, this has been fun, guys.
This was a nice chat. Yeah, I like this.
This was great.
Yeah.
I can't believe that we've like essentially had to cover the end of a giant plot arc. Like, just people died for real this time. Like people died for real, and it's even with the previous one when they were in the cube and they realized that everything was powered by like animals as well and like souls. It suddenly became a lot more real, and it became a lot more like, oh no, we're not playing. Like, this isn't some fun, like, oh look, we eat this cake and now we're all like, oh, a bit dizzy and funny. Like, no, this is real life.
Oh, you can flip to dark in a second. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Just shows the versatility of the game. You can make it funny or you can make it really serious and everyone goes, oh my god.
It's like you can talk to chipmunks or you can now be a weird construct thing that doesn't feel, eat or sleep.
Yeah. There is no in between. Amazing. Well, thank you very much to Superfan Sam and Superfan Pippa and me, Lord Crumpet.
Yeah, Lord Crumpet.
Lord Crumpet! Yes. Wait. Honestly, this has been such a ride, and I'm glad I got to share it with people, and not just David.
Well, can't wait to do the next one.
Yeah, honestly, can't wait to listen to more. And obviously, if you haven't already listened to it, listen to the Candlekeep Mysteries, because that's a little side adventure that Daryl is DMing, and
so
you should definitely listen to.
Yes,
it is
excellent.
So good, and it's
#, we love the Mayastanis.
Honestly, they are just the family dynamic. These are people who are related, and it is just great hearing them interact with each other. So if you haven't listened to that, go listen to that. That's my recommendation.
So funny.
Do it now.
Do it now. Go. I don't want to say goodbye. No.
It's only goodbye for now. It's a non, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only a non.
A non for now.
Are we doing it all together?
I suppose we can.
I guess so.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A non for now.